7 mindset mistakes that lead to poverty in retirement. Did you know that over 40% of Americans fear running out of money in retirement more than they fear death itself? And here's the truly shocking part. Even people who've earned millions over their lifetime often end up broke in their golden years. Why? Picture this. Warren Buffett and his neighbor both started with similar middle-class backgrounds in Omaha. Today, Buffett sits on a fortune worth billions, while his childhood neighbor struggles to cover basic expenses in retirement. What's the critical difference? It wasn't luck, inheritance, or even raw intelligence. It was something far more fundamental, their mindset about money. In today's video, 7 mindset mistakes that lead to poverty in retirement. I'm going to expose the deadly psychological traps that derail even the most promising financial journeys. These aren't technical mistakes about investment strategies or tax loopholes. They're the fundamental flaws in thinking that silently sabotage your financial future. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to identify these destructive mindsets in your own thinking and, more importantly, how to reprogram your financial psychology for abundance rather than scarcity. I'll share the exact system I've used to help hundreds of pre-retirees transform their financial trajectory in their 50s and 60s, often doubling or tripling their retirement readiness in just a few years. But I'm going to warn you now, some of these mindset mistakes might hit uncomfortably close to home. Most people prefer comfortable lies over uncomfortable truths. If you're ready to face your financial psychology with courage and honesty, hit the subscribe button now and type "Ready for Truth" in the comments. Stay until the end because I'll reveal the single most powerful mindset shift that wealthy people make. One that 97% of people never discover, yet has the power to completely transform your financial future, regardless of your age or current situation. This one insight alone will be worth 100 times the few minutes you spend watching this video. Let's begin by exposing the first and most insidious mindset mistake. One that affects nearly everyone, regardless of income level or financial knowledge. Mindset mistake number 1. Don't worry, I have plenty of time. The first deadly mindset mistake sounds innocent enough. Don't worry, I have plenty of time. This seemingly harmless thought has destroyed more financial futures than almost any other. I call it the procrastination paradox. The tendency to dramatically overestimate the time we have while underestimating the cost of delay. Lisa, a talented marketing director I counseled, embodied this mindset perfectly. At 35, whenever I brought up retirement planning, she'd wave dismissively. I'm focusing on my career right now. I'll worry about that in my 40s when I'm really making money. At 45, it became, once the kids are through college, I'll get serious about saving. Now, at 55, she faces a harsh reality of playing an aggressive game of catch-up. This counterintuitive result illustrates the extraordinary power of time in wealth building and the severe penalty for delay. The procrastination mindset isn't just a minor scheduling preference. It's a massive wealth destroyer. Why does this mindset persist despite the clear mathematics? Psychologists point to present bias, our tendency to dramatically favor immediate rewards over future benefits. Our brains are essentially wired to prioritize today's desires over tomorrow's needs. This was evolutionarily advantageous when human lifespans were short and the future uncertain, but it's financially devastating in our modern world with potentially decades of retirement. Additionally, we're exceptionally poor at grasping the true power of compound interest. We literally cannot feel in our gut just how much we're sacrificing with delay. The solution isn't willpower or guilt. It's systems that override this faulty mindset. The most powerful approach I've found is what I call the today plus 1% method. Instead of focusing on the distant future, commit to improving your financial position by just 1% today. That might mean setting up an automatic investment of just 1% of your income, then increasing it by 1% every 3 months. This approach works with our psychology rather than against it, making the process nearly painless while bypassing the procrastination mindset entirely. The truth is, the plenty of time mindset isn't just wrong, it's fundamentally backward. Those who believe they have the least time often have the most, and those who believe they have plenty often find themselves with none. The greatest wealth-building asset isn't money. It's time. It's slipping away with every rationalization about someday. Part 3. Mindset mistake number 2. A high income will solve all my problems. The second fatal mindset mistake has trapped countless high earners in a lifelong cycle of financial insecurity. A high income will solve all my problems. This belief is particularly dangerous because it contains just enough truth to be convincing while missing the fundamental reality of wealth building. James, a surgeon earning over $400,000 annually, came to me confused and frustrated. I make more than 95% of Americans, he explained, yet I'm constantly stressed about money. I have colleagues making half what I do who seem financially secure. What am I missing? What James was missing wasn't income. It was a correct mindset about what creates wealth. This income-focused mindset creates a particular form of financial self-sabotage I call the income illusion, the belief that earning more automatically translates to becoming wealthier. The reality is starkly different. Your income has far less impact on your financial future than your savings rate and investment behaviors. A UPS driver who consistently invests 20% of a $70,000 salary will invariably outperform a physician who saves just 5% of a $300,000 income. The psychological mechanism behind this mindset error is what economists call Parkinson's law of expenses, the tendency for expenses to rise to meet available income. This isn't conscious or deliberate. It's a subtle, almost invisible process of lifestyle inflation. The slightly larger home in a better neighborhood, the newer model car, the private schools, the premium vacations. None seem extravagant relative to income, yet collectively they consume available resources, regardless of income level. National data confirms this pattern. The personal savings rate remains remarkably consistent across most income levels until you reach the very top percentiles. A household earning $50,000 might save 5%, $2,500, while a household earning $200,000 often saves the same percentage, $10,000. The higher earner saves more in absolute terms, but remains on the same relative trajectory toward retirement insecurity. The most powerful solution to this mindset error is reversing the standard financial equation. Most people follow income, expenses equals savings. This inevitably leads to saving whatever happens to be left over, usually very little. Wealth builders follow income, savings equals expenses. They decide their savings rate first, automate it, then live on what remains. The truth about high incomes is that they represent potential, not actual wealth. They're like a powerful engine in a car, capable of extraordinary speed, but only if connected to the right transmission and driven with skill. Without the correct mindset about saving and investing, a high income simply funds a higher cost lifestyle with the same underlying financial fragility. The wealthiest people I know aren't necessarily those who make the most. They're those who keep and invest the highest percentage of whatever they make. Income helps, but mindset determines destiny. Mindset mistake number 3. I don't understand investing, so I'll just save in the bank. The third mindset mistake has particularly devastating impact because it masquerades as prudence and responsibility. I don't understand investing, so I'll just save in the bank. This thinking reflects our natural tendency to avoid what feels complex or risky, but in doing so, unwittingly commits to a guaranteed financial failure. Maria, a dedicated elementary school teacher, embodied this mindset perfectly. For 30 years, she diligently saved $400 monthly into a safe savings account, accumulating what seemed like a respectable $144,000. But when we calculated the real purchasing power of that money, accounting for inflation, she was shocked to discover her 3 decades of sacrifice had produced less than $95,000 in today's dollars. Her safe choice had silently eroded nearly a third of her hard-earned savings. This mindset error stems from what psychologists call loss aversion. Our tendency to feel the pain of loss is roughly twice as intensely as the pleasure of equivalent gains. This makes the visible, short-term volatility of investments feel far more threatening than the invisible, long-term devastation of inflation. It's like fearing the waves on the ocean's surface, while ignoring the powerful undertow that's actually dragging you out to sea. The financial reality is stark. The average annual inflation rate over the past century has been approximately 3%. This means money sitting in typical savings accounts earning less than 1% is effectively losing 2% of its purchasing power annually. This isn't speculation or theory. It's mathematical certainty. Over decades, this safe approach guarantees inadequate resources for retirement. Another psychological factor driving this mindset is the complexity bias, our tendency to overcomplicate unfamiliar concepts. Many people imagine that successful investing requires constantly monitoring markets, analyzing complex financial statements, or timing economic cycles. In reality, decades of financial research show that simple, low-cost index fund investing outperforms most sophisticated strategies. The solution to this mindset trap begins with recognizing that what feels safe in the short term, bank savings, is actually dangerous in the long term, while what feels risky in the short term, market investments, becomes progressively safer over longer time horizons. Historical data shows that while stock market investments can fluctuate dramatically in any given year, over 20-plus year periods, they have never failed to outpace inflation. The most important insight about this mindset error is that you don't need comprehensive financial expertise to be a successful investor. You need just enough knowledge to implement a simple, proven strategy, then the discipline to stick with it through market fluctuations. The true risk isn't market volatility. It's the guaranteed insufficiency of safe savings accounts in the face of decades of inflation. In wealth building, what you don't know can hurt you, but what you think you know that isn't actually true is far more dangerous. The belief that bank savings represent safety for long-term goals isn't just incorrect. It's an almost certain path to financial insecurity in retirement. Mindset mistake number 4. Buying a home is always a good investment. The fourth mindset mistake is deeply embedded in American culture and often passed down as financial gospel. Buying a home is always a good investment. This belief has led countless people to overextend themselves financially, trap capital in underperforming assets, and significantly reduce their long-term wealth potential. When accounting for property taxes, insurance, maintenance, renovations, and opportunity costs, the average home has historically returned just about 1% annually above inflation, far below what the same capital could have earned in diversified market investments. Yet this reality conflicts with our intuitive experience of seeing home values rise substantially over decades. We vividly remember purchasing our home for $200,000 and selling for $400,000 30 years later, the highly visible numerator, but fail to account for the tens of thousands spent on property taxes, insurance, repairs, and renovations, the invisible denominator. We also neglect to calculate what would have happened if we'd invested the down payment and monthly mortgage premium differences in growth assets instead. This doesn't mean homeownership is always a poor choice. It provides stability, forced savings, and psychological benefits. However, the mindset that conflates owning a primary residence with smart investing often leads to major financial mistakes. Buying too much house, prioritizing home payments over retirement contributions, or viewing home equity as adequate retirement preparation. The solution begins with mental reframing. Rather than viewing your primary residence primarily as an investment, see it as a consumption choice with some investment characteristics. This shift leads to more rational decisions. Buy a modest home that allows continued strong investment in actual growth assets, considering whether renting might be more appropriate in certain life stages, and avoiding the trap of continually upgrading to larger homes that consume ever more resources. Thomas and Rebecca, a couple earning a combined $120,000 annually, came to me stressed about their financial future. Despite stretching to buy a $500,000 home in a good neighborhood, they found themselves with minimal retirement savings at age 50. But at least we have the house, Thomas insisted. Real estate always appreciates, right? This mindset reflects a profound misunderstanding about the nature of homes as investments. The most important insight about this mindset error is that a home can either be a wealth-building tool or a lifestyle choice. But when we confuse these categories, we often end up with neither optimal wealth nor optimal lifestyle. The wealthiest retirees I know typically lived in modest homes relative to their incomes, allowing them to direct capital to higher returning assets over decades. The American dream of homeownership isn't inherently flawed, but the mindset that automatically equates it with sound investing has led many people to be house rich and cash poor in retirement, a precarious position that often forces painful late life downsizing under duress rather than by choice. Mindset mistake number 5. I'll spend less when I retire The fifth mindset mistake seems logical on the surface, but has led countless retirees into financial distress. I'll spend less when I retire. This assumption forms the foundation of many retirement plans, yet consistently proves false for the majority of retirees during the early retirement years, often when it matters most. This mindset error stems from what behavioral economists call the focusing illusion, our tendency to overweight easily imagined changes, like commuting costs, while overlooking subtle but significant shifts in spending patterns. The reality is that while some expenses decrease in retirement, others invariably increase, particularly in three key categories: healthcare, leisure activities, and services to replace what you previously did yourself. Data from the Employee Benefit Research Institute reveals that over 55% of households actually spend more, not less, during the first 6 years of retirement. This retirement spending smile shows high initial expenses, some moderation in the middle retirement years, then increased spending again in later years as healthcare needs intensify. Another psychological factor driving this mindset error is our poor ability to predict how we'll use abundant free time. Pre-retirees imagine quiet, low-cost days at home, but actual retirees typically fill time with travel, hobbies, dining out, and entertainment, all carrying costs not fully anticipated in their planning. Harold, a diligent saver nearing retirement, confidently told me he'd need just 70% of his pre-retirement income, the standard figure cited by many financial advisors. No more commuting costs, work clothes, or lunches out, he reasoned. Plus, the mortgage will be paid off. 6 years into retirement, Harold was back in my office, confused and concerned as his withdrawal rate approached dangerous levels. "I don't understand," he confessed. "We're not living extravagantly, but our expenses haven't decreased at all." The most crucial insight about this mindset error is that retirement isn't a single financial state, but a journey through distinct phases with different needs and priorities. Planning based on an oversimplified average across these phases almost guarantees either unnecessary deprivation or dangerous overspending at various points. Successful retirement planning requires both accurate expectations about actual spending patterns and the flexibility to adjust as you move through retirement's natural evolution. Those who enter retirement with eyes wide open about these realities can create financial structures that support their changing needs rather than being constrained by them. Part 7. Mindset mistake number 6. My children will take care of me when I'm old. The sixth mindset mistake is perhaps the most emotionally complex. My children will take care of me when I'm old. This belief, often unspoken but deeply held, has intensified in recent years as retirement insecurity grows and traditional pension systems weaken. While family support systems have tremendous value, this mindset often leads to inadequate financial preparation with devastating consequences for both generations. This mindset error stems from what sociologists call generational amnesia, forgetting how dramatically economic and social structures have changed between generations. Previous generations often could support aging parents because housing was affordable, jobs were stable with good benefits, and student debt was minimal. Today's middle-aged adults face unprecedented financial pressures that make elder support increasingly difficult despite the best intentions. The statistics reveal this growing challenge. According to a TD Ameritrade survey, 22% of millennials currently provide financial support to parents, yet 82% report that doing so is causing them financial strain or limiting their own financial growth. This reality reflects fundamental economic shifts rather than diminished family values. The cost of supporting an aging parent, particularly with healthcare needs, has grown exponentially while younger generations' economic security has decreased. Medicare covers only 62% of seniors' healthcare costs, leaving substantial expenses that often fall to family members, many already struggling with their own financial challenges. The solution isn't abandoning family support systems, but recognizing their practical limitations in contemporary economic reality. The most effective approach I've found is what I call independence with dignity planning, creating financial structures that maximize self-sufficiency while identifying specific, realistic ways family can supplement without sacrificing their own financial security. Elena, a warm-hearted 58-year-old administrative assistant, dismissed concerns about her minimal retirement savings. "I've always been there for my children," she explained, and they've promised to take care of me when the time comes. 5 years later, when health issues forced her early retirement, the reality proved far more complicated. Her daughter's family was struggling with their own financial challenges, including student loans and childcare costs. Her son lived across the country, pursuing career opportunities. Despite good intentions, neither could provide the comprehensive support Elena needed. The most important insight about this mindset error is that depending primarily on family for retirement security often harms the very relationships it aims to preserve. Financial dependency creates power imbalances, unstated resentments, and guilt that erode family bonds. Conversely, maintaining financial independence to the greatest extent possible preserves dignity and allows family relationships to flourish based on love rather than obligation. The healthiest intergenerational relationships I've observed involve parents who prepare diligently for their own needs, then graciously accept supplementary support in areas that enhance connection rather than create burden. This approach honors both generations' needs and creates sustainable support systems that strengthen rather than strain family bonds. Part 8. Mindset mistake number 7. Social Security/pension will be enough for me. The seventh and final mindset mistake represents perhaps the most widespread delusion about retirement security. Social Security/pension will be enough for me. This belief, often based on vague assumptions rather than concrete analysis, has left millions of retirees facing painful financial constraints they never anticipated. This mindset error stems from what psychologists call the planning fallacy, our tendency to underestimate costs, complications, and obstacles when contemplating future scenarios. We imagine retirement as a simple mathematical equation. Years work times benefit formula equals secure retirement, while overlooking crucial variables like inflation, healthcare costs, taxation, and potential benefit reductions. The financial reality is sobering. The average Social Security benefit replaces approximately 40% of pre-retirement income for average earners, and even less for higher earners due to benefit caps. Traditional pensions, where they still exist, typically replace 25 to 50% of final salary. Combined, these sources usually provide 55 to 70% of pre-retirement income, significantly below the 75 to 85% most retirees actually need to maintain their standard of living. This gap creates what I call the retirement income deficit, the shortfall between expected retirement income and actual needs. This deficit becomes increasingly severe over time as inflation erodes fixed pension values and healthcare costs consume a growing percentage of Social Security benefits. The solution begins with a detailed, realistic assessment of what these programs will actually provide in your specific situation. Social Security statements, pension projections, and Medicare coverage limitations must be thoroughly analyzed to identify gaps in coverage. Once these gaps are quantified, targeted saving and investment strategies can be implemented to address them. David, a dependable factory worker with 38 years at the same company, waved away my questions about supplemental retirement savings. "I've got a solid pension and Social Security coming," he insisted, always taking care of my co-workers who retired before me. 3 years into his own retirement, the reality had become painfully clear. His combined pension and Social Security replaced only about 58% of his working income, far below the 85% he'd assumed. The gap represented hundreds of dollars monthly that he simply didn't have. The most important insight about this mindset error is that government and employer programs provide a floor, not a complete retirement solution. Viewing them as foundations to build upon rather than comprehensive solutions leads to much sounder planning decisions throughout working life. Ultimately, retirement security in today's economic environment requires intentional integration of all available resources, institutional programs, employer benefits, personal savings, and strategic work transitions, rather than over-reliance on any single element. Those who understand this reality and plan accordingly can create truly secure retirements despite the limitations of traditional support systems. Throughout this exploration of the 7 deadly mindset mistakes that lead to retirement poverty, we've uncovered a crucial truth. Financial success isn't primarily about economics or investment strategies. Simply recognizing these mindset errors puts you ahead of most people, but awareness alone isn't enough. Transformation requires structured action. I've created a free financial mindset assessment tool available through the link in the description that will help you identify which of these thought patterns might be influencing your own financial journey. Once you've identified your specific mindset challenges, commit to a 30-60-90-day action plan. First 30 days. Educate yourself about the specific mindset errors most affecting you days 31 to 60. Implement one concrete structural change that counters your dominant mindset error days 61 to 90. Build accountability by sharing your progress and insights with trusted others. Remember, these mindset shifts aren't just about avoiding poverty. They're about creating the freedom to live your later years with dignity, purpose, and joy. The financial decisions you make today are really decisions about what kind of life will be available to you tomorrow. I'd love to hear which of these mindset mistakes resonated most with you. Drop a comment below with a number that hit closest to home and share one action you'll take to begin shifting that pattern. Your insight might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear. If you found value in these insights, please subscribe to this channel for more content on the psychology of wealth building and practical strategies for financial transformation. Just click that subscribe button now to join our community of mindset-focused wealth builders. Thank you for watching. Remember, it's never too late to change your financial trajectory. The first step is changing how you think about money itself.